So the suspected shooter there of Charlie Kirk, the hearing has now just concluded. We know that the state is pursuing the death penalty here. We have just learned throughout this proceeding that they are going to try to find him counsel. They deemed he is indigent, so they will be providing an attorney for the alleged shooter. And the next time that he will make a court appearance will be September 29th. And then again, as you heard the judge there say, that will happen on WebEx. A couple other things that we learned here throughout this quick hearing is that he will remain in custody without bail, and that the state was also present there, and they asked for a protective order on behalf of Erica Kirk. Of course, that is Charlie Kirk's wife. A reminder to everybody that, yes, he was a conservative activist, but he was also a young husband and a young father of 2 children. And a protective order has been granted on behalf of Erica Kirk. I do want to bring in our ABC News chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman. He's in Spanish Fork, Utah, there for us. Matt, thank you here for being here with us. And so we just saw this proceeding play out. No surprise, right? This is not the proceeding in which this person would enter a plea. But Matt, prior to this, there was a lot of evidence that the prosecution sort of laid out for the public, including text messages, DNA, things like that, that they do plan to try to present to the judge to be admitted here in trial. But perhaps, Matt, you can just gauge for us, since you've been covering this now for so long. Tell me about your first reaction here in seeing Tyler Robinson sit down there, if you were able to see it, sitting down in this court hearing.
He was sitting down. It was via WebEx, so he wasn't physically in the courtroom, Kana, with the judge. But you could see that people were watching. You could see he was wearing this padded vest, and that's because he's been in what's called special watch in this jail here, which is essentially an isolation. He's being held to prevent him from harming himself or from others harming him. We heard from the prosecutor earlier today in his announcement of the charges that the suspect's mother had said that he was suicidal and that he wanted to kill himself, allegedly, instead of turning himself in. So you see him in that protective garb. The bulk of this hearing that we just saw was the judge reading the 7 charges. Of course, they are aggravated by the fact that the suspect allegedly committed this political assassination of Charlie Kirk in full view of children. So that's one of the things that has enhanced the charges against them, and one of the things that makes this a capital case, according to prosecutors here. You mentioned it. He was pronounced indigent, which means he can't afford to have his own counsel, his outside counsel. One will be provided to him by the court, but there's only a finite number of lawyers who are certified under what's called Rule A qualified attorneys in the state of Utah, were qualified with dealing with a capital case. And my understanding from several sources is that some of those people have been reluctant to take on this case because of the backlash that they are concerned about. They are obviously working on getting him an attorney with, I'm sure, full protections, but that's something that's going to be next. And the next hearing, as you mentioned, September 29th, 10 a.m. He will have counsel present. I'm not even sure if at that point he will enter a plea, Kana.
That's really interesting. And they said, again, that one will also be on WebEx. Apparently, it's really standard procedure there in Utah for this first appearance to also be virtual, as Matt mentioned. And Matt, I'm hoping we can just quickly go through some of those text messages that you mentioned there, again, with this roommate with who prosecutors say that he was romantically involved with. And one thing they touched on in this hearing, too, Matt, is the fact that in this text message exchange, we're showing some of it, but Matt, they pointed out to the fact that they believe the shooter asked his roommate to delete the exchange and then to not speak with the media, and then it's shown in these charging documents, Matt.
Yeah, we have not seen these text messages. We have heard them for the first time from the prosecutor. They also put out this charging document in which these messages were revealed. And it appears to show this exchange between the suspect and his roommate, with whom he was romantically involved, apparently. And it's very, very detailed. And in the text messages, the prosecutor says that the suspect was talking about the murder weapon, talking about where he stashed it, talking about how he stashed it, and yes, allegedly advising his roommate to delete the messages and not to cooperate with law enforcement, to get a lawyer and not talk to the media if there's blows up, and eventually it did. What also struck me about these messages, at least initially, is that the suspect appeared to think that he could get away with this. He was hoping that he would never have to mention this to anyone ever again, and that they would never be able to find him. And it was only, as we've learned through these text messages presented by the prosecutor, when he realizes that he can't get back to that rifle that he stashed and take it somewhere else, and he realizes that police is right in that vicinity and he can't go get it, that he is in trouble. And that's when things start to spiral out of control for the suspect, according to these text messages. And at that point, he does appear, at least afterwards, to talk about being suicidal, not wanting to turn himself in. Eventually, he's convinced by his parents that he should not do any harm to himself and that he should do the right thing and turn himself in, Kana.
Right, and the prosecution revealing this was his grandfather's rifle. It was a very important piece of family property.
Right.
Matt Gutman, thank you, as always, for being here with us today.